Hello, this is your tarot bestie Michael from Blue Gem Tarot. I thought it's time to create a reading and I just decided to make this happen. For this reading, we're gonna talk about something very common, nonetheless very good for my channel as well, and I hope it's insightful for you too. Exposing people's innermost thoughts. Um, this is gonna be a reading where I'm delving into like deeper aspects of people's thoughts that are generally, or let's just say, yeah, generally inaccessible. Not gonna be surprised if I find layers and dimensions of thought that are not even accessible to them because that's my like special dish type of like category of like reading. I'm also aiming for these readings to be very useful and beneficial for you, and I'm not gonna spill too much, like, not gonna spill the tea too much so as to not make them feel like somehow at a disadvantage in relationship to you, but I do want to give you a very good reading too, so I don't give guarantees. But yeah, we all want the tea, and we're thirsty for it at the same time, so can't blame you. For this reading, we have three piles. What a surprise. We have pile number one with an elephant, pile number two with an eagle, and pile number three with a turtle. Take your time and pick your pile. If you want to choose multiple, choose all of them. Like, for best results, like literally just choose all of them because why not? But you don't have to. You can just stick to one and just be happy about it. Or two. I'm not saying things. So, you can find the actual timestamps in the comment section and the description section as usual. And if you don't agree with something from the reading, you don't have to pick it up. You don't have to resonate because it's not by force. So I'm gonna be seeing each of you in your specific piles, and good luck because it was quite the ride. By the way, the subdivisions are going to be realism, we have fantasy, we have safety, and we have seriousness. And let's start with pile number one. Hello, pile number one. Welcome to your reading. I would like to say that in your case, we have some very contradictory energies, information in here. Starting off with this figure in the center, which seems to be overthinking the whole situation. The overall energy was very much so fixed on you, but also it had this mental activity that really seems to be rampant into the whole reading. It also makes me think that this could be relevant for a single person, meaning that it has to do with a person who dominantly thinks about you. But let's just say that this person doesn't really want to expose this whole dynamic. They don't want you to know. I would like to also say why this is particularly complicated or contradictory or like polarizing is because we have on one hand, this very strange Wheel of Fortune, Four of Cups, Lovers reversed, and this image with like man on rabbits. And it seems to be a case where the person or the group in here really likes to think about the competition and about the game and who's gonna win. But at the same time, I really can't say it's only about this because we have the dog card and also this image of a child in here. I'm carrying like a sort of oh my god, caring. I'm trying to read this, and it makes me feel like it's about a loyalty in here with with a dog. It's as if the person or people can't help but appreciate you, while at the same time kind of not being able to fully appreciate, but at the same time like they try to compare themselves to you or something. It feels like you are universally liked, or you are being perceived or thought of in like various like very good ways, but it like really creates like a sort of a contrast. I want to say also with the central image in here, it seems like the person really wants to say or has a lot to say about you, or people have lots of positive things to say, but unfortunately they feel very stuck or feel very vulnerable, or they don't have the what it takes to actually tell you that they appreciate you. It's like really a complicated story in here where people think about somehow like winning only, or somehow again it's a sort of a competition that I'm sensing in here. Seems like also people, given the actual subdivisions in here that I will actually cover, regard you as a very powerful person and lucky one at that. Also, like I'm seeing a sort of an envy or thoughts related to, you have it all easy, or maybe not really about like easy. It's like as if everything is easy for you, or you get things easily. It's as if I'm also carrying a sort of this could gravitate into feelings as well, thoughts, but it's like heavy also like fear that you'll find out that they both like and dislike you at the same time or try to compete with you. I'm really sensing that you are found in a situation where a person or a group finds you really endearing also. Um, It doesn't quite make sense to me. It's as if there is like a me and this person, and I'm referring to you. Like there is like this person who likes you, but at the same time they try to survive, and it's like I don't want to place them too high on a pedestal because I have to like fend for myself as well. So you could find various situations quite confusing in your case because given also the Queen of Cups reversed and the Three of Cups as well, it's as if people can like and dislike you at the same time, and you could be very open, you could be very outgoing, you could be very socially oriented or accommodating with people, but they feel off. They can feel very strange, and I'm sensing this wheel. It's as if you have some sort of advantage in here. There is definitely some sort of hint to this pile where it says some sort of luck, or it says like, and this is what people are thinking about. So mind you, this is their version of the uh, reality or what this is, but Um, Moon in reverse as well. It's as if I would like to say people themselves don't quite understand what they're thinking of, and it makes them feel a bit out of control. We also have the central figure with pluses and minuses. It's as if like also uh, you can have you can be talented. You could have something like going for you in a way, and this could instead of it being appreciated, I'm sensing that people generally just regard it as something like that you figured out and it's really working in your favor and they feel behind. Like this is very, it's like logically they would have to praise you. And I'm not sensing like a game of competition, a literal competition of sorts, where you're trying to really get ahead of them. But it also like, it seems like it's the case. It seems like you can have literally people be like silent, but them like literally thinking about how you are better, how you are like, they don't, somehow I'm sensing a very strange story where they don't even want to make friends necessarily because they really would rather keep the distance or something. It's a very unfortunate case also where this could gravitate. If this is romantic, this could be a person who finds you to be way too good, or way ahead than themselves, and it makes them feel like it's unfair. Like, why are they ahead of me? Why are they so? And it's proficient. I'm sensing like some sort of level of let's just say being ahead somehow, and easily so. It's as if, well, there are people who are easily able to embody some qualities and others who are like somehow always on the treadmill and striving to embody or like become them. And this is something that also nugs is nagging at them in a way, because I would like to say deep down, you have lots of people who are really able and very like consciously like willing, would freely and willingly tell you compliments. This is kind of confusing to see as well. And with a dog in here, it's as if these people could potentially quite be like strangely like loving, okay? I don't know how to accommodate these two because they feel very strangely separate, or like it's either one or the other, but it feels like behind or beneath actually the whole jealousy thing, or this whole like distance with why are they so sophisticated or whatsoever. It's like a deep desire to be loved and to feel belonging with you, to be part of this success as well. But it's like, yeah, it's really complicated. Like, it's not that complicated, but it's screaming like double-sided story or double feelings or something like this. And I would like to also stress this out, that it's a whole dimension of thoughts that seems to be bothering people. I'm sensing that they naturally gravitate towards a more positive outlook on you, but when it comes to the real world, it's as if they are there to fend literally for themselves. And it's something why I'm saying this is particularly bothering them, because the realism part comes from the lovers reversed, from the wheel of fortune in reverse. Like, why is this person like so weird? And it's you really seem to be occupying people's like minds in a way. Now, we have four subdivisions for each card in here. We have, this is gonna be the Page of Swords, and also Ten of Swords and the Nine of Wands. Uh, Quite the story. I will get back to those. They seem to be pretty solid cards for me. Well, specifically in this context, and with the fact that I'm also reading the energy of like the character, given that I know a bit of a backstory from them. Um, Ten of Swords, Nine of Wands. Well, this is like the distance I was sensing. This is like the pain, uh, like imagine you having a close friend and being in the proximity of this whole friend of this friend feel makes you feel triggered, and this like trigger you cannot tell them, or you feel vulnerable, or you feel like you're not ready to tell them, or you don't want to bring this up because this would reveal the dimension of desperation that you feel. Well, this is exactly how they feel, and also it's as if there is a fear that it's always gonna be like this, you're always gonna be successful, or something like this, okay? um I would rather also like to call this more self-centered than actually, it doesn't feel like it has to do something with you necessarily, because people will literally find reasons and fault with uh pretty much anything they can project onto. So yeah, that's something I really wanted to drop here. um we have in the realism, we have pizza and stool. Don't ask me how this is gonna make sense, or how am I drawing this like conclusions. I'm sensing a story of, it's like stable. With realism, it's like a very honest assessment of themselves, and it doesn't paint them like in a very good way. I would like to also say that for pile number one, in realism, it's like they want your guidance, but they don't want to admit to it, or they don't feel like asking for it, or they feel like this would place them in an inferior position. Something about you with stool as well, like this, like for um, this is making me feeling, making me feel like you are a person who's way more stable, or has something going for them where they don't, or they look up to you and they see something unreachable. And I'm also seeing this as a confirmation from the other category, which is fantasy. We have Bad Eye and the Wise. Um, it's like with Wise in here, I'm sensing that you could have something about yourself that feels very mature, very ahead of its time, very somehow like unrealistically like high or good. And I'm sensing like an analysis. Is it analysis? I think it is, and it's like a feeling of, don't get me wrong, but it's like an impersonation. I don't know why. I don't know why. This is from the fantasy standpoint. I'm sensing like a literal striving to be like you. And this could be very like convoluted or something, but seems to be like it makes good sense. It makes pretty much like it makes sense with the upper category as well. It's as if people can find things about you that they would like to be, or they would have liked to have been, but it's as if the reality, I don't, I have questions like with grammar, but I think you got the point. Um, it's as if they feel like it's too late, or you've already had those like progression points or evolutions that they missed on in their life, and it's like they strive to be like you. Okay, this is the, I hope this makes sense though. It feels very specific as well, and it feels very strange to say, but yeah. uh with safety element we have seagull and letter. Don't get me wrong, but a seagull, I'm seeing that as persistence, and this message or letter card actually. Um, this is like hot and cold behavior, or this is like the whole confusion I was referring to. It makes me feel like people can't necessarily handle your presence, but they feel pulled in, or they feel like it could literally be a case where it's like a fear of missing out, or a fear of not being in the center of what's happening. It's as if pile number one is related or is involved with everything that's happening, like that's important, and it's like we really have to be there. And it shows me that the group of people who are doing that are people who you can't really tell if they are friends or enemies or frenemies, as they say, because you kind of find them all over the place. You kind of find them in like the key circumstances or something like this, but in the end, you cannot really say. You don't trust them fully, and at the same time, it's as if precisely these types of people were the ones to compliment you or show some sort of strange loyalty. So don't be surprised if this is kind of strange, but that's what I'm seeing. A very strange case as well for the next subdivision. Um, Also caught this feeling of, I think this will make sense eventually, but it's currently not wanting to make things or to degrade the whole interaction to the point where they miss out on you, and thus we had this like fear of missing out or something, while at the same time keeping the distance from merging into like a closer interaction, and then a one that doesn't allow them to fully retract or uh, disappear in time. It's a really strange case. In any case, you have guest and vague. It's seriously funny to find this guest card here along the previous message. It's like, you know how guests are, they are in and out. They could be here one day and they are gone the other, or literally the same day. So, and also vague. It's like I really can't let them go fully, while I can't let them in also fully. And it's not even the case where they feel like somehow they are curious. I would say it's more than that. I would say you have people in here who are literally just could be stalking you, could be like seasonal people as well. These could be like people who could be potentially checking in on you. And also, what I find strange in here, it's the fact that it's like with vague, they like themselves in all seriousness about this category, they don't know what is happening, With seriousness in here, there is only certainty in uncertainty, or in a certain um, desire to keep things at an arm's length in a way, but a distance that would somehow facilitate some sort of like safety, or at least a link to you. Literally, if I were you, I would just call it a day and disconnect, and find ways to politely and very like interact with them in a way which is very distant but reasonable. But it's very confusing. I also um, recorded this reading in a way I didn't like it, and I deleted it. And it's fascinating how literally the same confusion rose up in the reading along as I read it in the first time. I usually don't do that, but it's like it's crazy how exactly what I was talking about is literally resurfacing, which is like so funny because it was so worrisome at some point. I was like, is it gonna be the same? And I'm literally seeing the cards again. It's like, yeah, literally the same thing. And now we're getting to the other core of this whole reading. It's another subdivision with the same elements. And it's interesting because you have, again, we talked about this, but I'm getting back to it in a way. Ten of Swords in here, this painful feeling of defeat, or this painful realization that they feel behind, or that everything is bad. I'm sensing that people also with this character, they really don't want to get on your bad side, but it's very convoluted. You most likely don't know this, but it's like a fear of being on bad terms with you, because that would almost unleash or provoke or create some negative circumstances or consequences that they really don't want to deal with. In the realism category, we have disgusted and merciful. With merciful in here, I was almost like so. I caught this immediately. It's like a feeling of hoping that they will know how to manage you, and in time make it so that you're not gonna be upset with this whole game. And also with disgusted, I would like to say it's like it does feel like somebody in here really fears you in a way, or really does not like the dynamic to the point where they feel really uncomfortable and they don't want to engage, but they are really forced to. So I don't like saying that, but it's what I'm seeing. I'm looking at the group, or this feels like more an individual person who pretends to be distant, cold, or maybe even polite at times, but is actually, like with disgusted, really doing that whole facade because they don't want to be on bad terms with you. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing with this with this realism category. Next up, we have fantasy. We have quest and forgiving. Funny thing, because merciful, forgiving, we had twice these concept. It's like concepts. It's like people think about, or not gonna lie, I have fear in here that I'm tracing, and it's like they really hope to somehow be permanently on some sort of good side with you. Very interesting, and like a thing you could actually trace into the reading, and as well importance there. I can definitely sense importance and link that to the whole reading. It's like, I really have to get along with them. I don't have any other choice. That's how it feels. In the fantasy category, fantasy, most likely this is something that it would be wonderful. With quest in here, it's an ideal like circumstance, or let's just say a story or unfolding of events where, not gonna lie, it's like where they get along with you. With quest, it's like an exploration or adventure of sorts, where I would say they would like to have you under control, let's just say, but like safely like interact with you. You know how this like quest, this reminds me of like NPCs for some reason, where you have, how this NPC is gonna behave. It's like a program or a robot, and you know what you can expect from them. While people like really like work wise, it's like you want to know how to work with this person and to extract the best like outcome out of them and to not anger them. Okay, like that's what I'm sensing with fantasy in here, and specifically quest. Next up we have safety. We have scientist, we have greedy and deceptive. Well, this is quite interesting because, again, scientist is a person who studies. With safety, knowing as much as they can about you provides the person a lot of safety or a feeling of control. With greedy as well, it's a desperate feeling of could be study as well. Like it could be a desperate feeling of wanting to study or to overthink things to the point where they can feel safety. And deceptive also, it's like I'm sensing a story where people can be deceptive for the sake of obtaining this safety that I was referring to as a whole like concept. And next up, we also have seriousness. We have fake. Um, this is a bit of a bad news in a way because it's literally what it says. With seriousness, it's like if people were to be honest, like that would be the case, or if things were to be like to the point in a way. That sounded wrong, but anyway. Um, this whole thing, I would like to say it's not about you. It feels like it's a whole confusing game of like back and forth. It feels like a fetch game of sorts that their ego is doing to them. And in the end, it's not even like you could be surprised to hear this. And I did mention this before in other readings, but precisely the people who hate on you could be wanting to subject you to this whole array of things could be in fact precisely the people who appreciate you the most, because at the end of the day you'll find these are the people who felt threatened because they saw something real in you. And at the same time, it's a very real dimension. I don't even have to touch on it as much because I saw it in this category of the card, right upper corner where we had the dog. It's like you for you to hate someone, you have to hate them for something really specific. And I feel like precisely this pile has this feel of importance and like almost like precise qualities that they would like to have as well, that makes it so that it's an unbearable like game of like it's an unbearable competition where unfortunately even if you wanted you wouldn't necessarily have their real version, because immediately as they see you they are triggered. They are stepping into this whole persona. So yeah, definitely something I did catch on or captured into the reading, so hope this makes sense. That's it, pile number one. Thank you so much for watching. That was quite the ride. It's so strange to find the same energies in pretty much a pre-recorded, like again a re-recorded actually audio. So energy never lies in a way, which is kind of funny. But yeah, that's what it is. Thank you so much for watching. Do make sure to comment below if this resonated. Like, share, comment, subscribe. If you want to find other similar topics on my channel, you can definitely check them out. And if you want to donate, you will find the links in the comment section and the description section. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to hear from you in the future readings. Take care. Okay, pile number two. Welcome to your reading. You chose the eagle, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not. Okay. Um, because these are like general thoughts, I will take this like I would take this with a grain of salt because this is the general category. We will get more concrete things in the subdivisions because they already look kind of spicy, having there the devil and the Ace of Pentacles, you know. Ace of Pentacles is a bit boring, but we'll get back to it. It's gonna be interesting. For these subdivisions, we have pragmatic, we have dangerous, unrealistic, and amusing. They all pertain to the thoughts category, so let's begin. Uh, Innermost thoughts. you have in here people who generally feel a little bit threatened, but it's not because of you, or you don't have to feel guilty about this, because we have some very childish, very raw, very, and it's not bad childish, but it's a dimension where people feel really raw. Because these are thoughts, it means that they feel like they have to defend themselves, or they have to be on edge, or they have to really be careful with you because they feel kind of exposed somehow. I would say, given the central card, which is very sus, it's like people wanna show off in a way where aggression and showing off really feels like an explosive or forthgoing energy when it comes to the interactions with you. It could be also thoughts about the ways in which they present themselves and the ways in which they show themselves to you, to the world, and how they, with with High Priestess in reverse in here, it's a bit of let's just say a conundrum in here when it comes to you, because it's like people feel a little bit like they are out of control, or they think that they are going to somehow get exposed, or something with High Priestess in reverse should not be disclosed, should not have been said or exposed, but you did, or somehow your presence is dangerously close to revealing that. I'm overall like sensing a defensive mode type of energy, which is being disguised by either a show off, or like a whole like it feels like an act, okay? And to be quite fair, it's like a person and people generally feeling like they don't want to change, to get out of their comfort zones, and they don't want to be almost like ostracized or isolated or something like this. It makes me feel like somehow your presence is very impactful, very powerful, intense, and it can trigger almost like inadvertently some sort of like passive effects that can make them feel too seen, or perhaps a little bit out of control of their self, of their perception, of their image, of how they appear into the world. And I'm sensing like an overall anxiety in here too. With the eagle in here as well, I'm usually also pondering on the pile selections, and I can say in here that there is lots of thoughts and plans, perceptions over how they are going to appear in the context with you, how they're going to present themselves, like in that all of this being like somehow adjacent to the whole dynamic in here, or to your identity. I cannot really say because it's really complicated, it's really convoluted, it's very defensive. I'm looking at that card from the left side, and it's all like seemingly very friendly. I would say also with thoughts in here, it's like let's pretend, or let's play, or let's create this facade that everything is fine, everything is manageable, while inside feeling like the actual Three of Swords, which is very like raw, wounded, or almost I'm feeling like a desire or thoughts about redeeming themselves in a way, or thoughts about not feeling important enough, thoughts about how they should redeem their image, something like this. It's as if I'm sensing this almost like childhood, like it reminds me of the childhood, like powerlessness when you're little and you cannot really make the decisions of an adult, and that becomes really constrictive, and you almost like try. It feels like an attempt to seize control or power, and I would say in this overall mix of cards, this is indicative of the fact that you feel very influential, or if it's not that directly or concretely about your situation, it could be that you play a very crucial, important role in some sort of scheme. I'm not referring to a bad scheme in this case. It's like a context, a set of circumstances in here that place you in a position of power or influence, and the interaction in here seems to make people feel kind of threatened, I would say. And in this case, like it's a mental prison of sorts, a mental construct that pushes them to reestablish like some sort of old or previously known comfort zone or comfort mode, or in general comfort. And it's generally very fearful, very like raw, very vulnerable thoughts in here, and they almost like pertain to some sort of status. Okay. uh I'm sensing in here with the devil from the subdivision a sense of strange, inauthentic affiliation with you that is to be for now a bit false or forced. With the devil as well, it's like a tie in here. It could be also an addiction of sorts, to come back to the topic of you, where it's like they depend on some sort of validation or some sort of, there is like, I was tracing some sort of dependence on you. It could be indirect, but it's like people related. It's not, I'm not gonna address, or I'm not, let's just say, I'm not gonna go into the detail why this pattern is negatively influencing them, because we have the devil in here, and this is not to mean that it's somehow your fault or something, but it feels very restrictive. It feels like the people in here feel like they depend on you somehow. But it feels also like driven from a stance of lack and powerlessness that is completely like from their side, and it's like they could be also kind of overreacting, and you could confirm that. Anyway, with innermost thoughts, it's also a sort of a dependence, where it says dependence on you, on your validation, on your words, on your status. Something changed, okay? Something changed in here, and it feels like this like whole dynamic of addiction uh, with some sort of energy from you is taking place, and you could find this person or this group of people who I'm addressing right now to be quite on edge, very triggered, or very like unstable emotionally, can be as well. Quite a strange one, by the way, but that's what I'm seeing. um this is going to be the pragmatic. I will generalize it because I feel like I can extract more from that kind of from doing that technique. But pragmatism, we have villain. This is very curious, by the way, because almost as if this whole thing where they felt very raw, very like dependent, very um, powerless, if they were to admit this up front, it makes me feel like this would potentially put them in like a bad spot, or it would really eat away at their reputation. With pragmatism in here, it's also a level of survival. Tying in this with the general and the devil card, this makes me feel like somebody feels dependent on you and feels kind of also guilty because of it, because they feel like if they were to be really honest, it's a whole scheme where they want something from you and they cannot make it seem like it's a good story. Okay, I hope this makes sense. I really do. But it's almost screaming, I need to survive. Okay? This could be competition, because this reminds me of situations where pragmatism applied in the villain makes you feel like you have to compete with a person in order to survive, or it can be a dependence to you that makes them survive and would make them the bad guy in the whole narrative. This is very convoluted as well. No wonder this is in the innermost thoughts, because this is very deep, and it feels very guilt infused, okay, so to speak. We have danger and exposed. Danger is the subdivision, and the exposed, I feel like this is a fear of being seen for who they are truly. I'm feeling that also somebody in here tries to fight for their innocence. I'm also sensing that somebody tries to almost like override the narrative. With exposed as well in the danger category, it could be a dangerous exposure, or a come to Jesus moment, or coming to facts or to the realization that if they're going to be exposed, they're going to be seen as a villain, confirming that with the upper card too. I'm sensing that there is also lots of meat in the game, so to speak. It's like, when I say that, it's like, I mean, there is a lot of essence or much at stake somehow. Not another meat reference, God. Anyway, I think you got the point. Um, I'm sensing a dependence on you that's also making them feel very powerless and not very good. It's like coming through as very like a negative stance. Uh, okay. Unrealism, we have Storm. Mm, this all circles back to the feeling of not being able to, like, it's in broader terms or in layman's terms, let's just say, it would be a situation where you want to assert yourself, your boundaries, your identity into the world. You have a plan in mind, but then you come in contact with the actual circumstances, you are completely flat on the floor. Like, that's how it feels energetically. And with Storm in unrealistic or uh, non-realism in this case, it's like a story of feeling redeemed by overpowering or by overpowering you in this context, or your reputation or your identity, something like this, and it fails because of the devil. It feels really strange, by the way. Anyhow, amusement, we have Moon. I don't think the amusement is really fitting for this category of the reading, specifically because of the context. Um, but it reveals, let's just say, an important aspect, and it's complacency. I have no idea where I'm pulling this from. That's why as of late I needed more validation in the comments, but yeah. We'll see how this reflects in the analytics though. With Moon in here, Moon is generally lack of clarity, or let's just say associations in this context drive me towards a feeling of complacency. It makes me feel like the person, the group in here, wishes on too many things, but is not ready to authentically either face you or truly put in the key effort or the key intentions to flip the whole dynamic. And this is precisely why I felt like this was not inherently negatively driven towards pile number 2, because it would be strange for me to tackle such energies on my channel, but it feels to me like specifically the complacency, the victimhood in here really makes the person feel like they are out of control, and it paints the situation and specifically you in a bad light, and it justifies a very core feeling of uh, childish irresponsibility or lack of accountability in this case, and a complacent feeling of like a victim. Okay, don't play the game. That's immediately what, like, that's exactly what came to mind for this pile, is like, don't engage in that kind of energy, because these people would rather make you the villain in the story and victimize themselves, rather than solve the situation organically and in the favor of the both parties. I would say with Moon in the amusing stance, it's like perhaps an indication of how childish actually this is inherently, and how this whole thing is like more of a story about them and not you. I was sensing a lot of like threatened, okay, energy, like threatened real bad, okay. I'm sensing that in the Nine of Cups, near the Five of Pentacles and Three of Swords. It's like very unrealistic, shocking, scandalous perceptions of you, and very like defensive. seeing danger where it's not, and projecting some sort of feelings and safety in a situation where it's actually not, and really entangling themselves in all of this. While seemingly also, I'm surprised by the actual exposure cards which were given to me. It was the right side, the like yellow heels in here and stuff. The page, also the Knight of Wands, and the birds. It's as if there is like a whole game to pretend that everything is fine and everyone is okay and everyone is happy. I would rather also, actually, I would like to address another aspect. It's as if you awaken, in a way, something that they would like to have. It's a sort of a calm sense of undisturbed or um, willful and very confident person that you can represent to them, and they feel like the gap that's to be filled, in order for them to feel the same, is just way too big for them to bridge, and it makes them feel really out of control. This behavior also can show up in people where they feel very inauthentic, they feel very defensive out of the blue, they feel like they are really uncomfortable in your presence all of the sudden, even though you don't quite understand what's happening and you did nothing wrong. Or when you interact with them, but all of the sudden you feel like you're competing with them, or when they are trying to basically prove themselves and say things that would almost like redeem or make them seem very important or very outgoing or very significant, where you're like, literally, what's going on? I don't understand. And you could also catch people in the stance where they, if they were to be confronted, they would probably just sink in that like victimhood I was addressing. And it's also interesting because in thoughts in here we have Page of Swords, so it's like an examination. It's like a very passionate pursuit in the actual vision, analysis, and perception of you, which is quite also driven from a very desperate standpoint. This is sad, but it's what it is. Ace of Pentacles. This one is curious. Ace of Pentacles is like beginnings card and like cooperation, material world. Given the previous energies I was talking about, it's as if I'm seeing a very conscious, deliberate like molding of the situation where it's meant to seemingly be like a positive or a very light and inspirational, alluring offer of cooperation between the two of you, while it's actually a very self-serving thing, or it's one that's meant to further like gratify their interests. This I say this time not with a grain of salt, because seeing this clearly for what it is, it's like a fear of losing status and overall relevance and money. Okay, having also the Five of Pentacles there flipped, it's like I want to keep, and it's specifically flipped. It's interesting because having it there flipped, it's a situation where like I have to prevent that, and by behaving in this way I would at least make it so that it's prevented. Okay, like that's such a very strategic, desperate, like thought mechanism, preservation, or something like this. I would say if you can maneuver the situation in your favor as well, and if you can be, or if you can invite like transparency in the situation where you're feeling in control of what's happening, then this can be actually quite transactional. Um, but also I would be quite careful because you have in pragmatism you have jolly. So given the previous also energy, we had villain there in that category. So what is in the upfront, what's being shown to you, is jolly. It's like very polite. This is giving like polite vibes. This is giving very cooperational, seemingly like very cooperative, positive, inspirational, very It feels impersonal though. It feels polite. It feels cold, inauthentic, but polite. Almost as if like, I don't wanna like destroy the relationship. I don't wanna be very honest that I feel uncomfortable or that I feel negatively towards you. I feel those things, but I don't want to deprive myself of the benefits of having the relationship with you. And thus we have this Ace of Pentacles, which by the way is not the Ace of Cups, where it would be much more emotional and true. Well, it is what it is. It's very also pragmatic in the sense of like financial. It's like let's pretend, okay? Like let's pretend, let's be nice, pretend that I care, or something like this. It's very actually disgusting, if I were to be honest with you, seeing it as it mixes in pragmatism with jolly. Yeah, it's like the whole. It reminds me of like Christmas ads that literally don't care. Like, let's be honest, they don't care. They just wanna advertise in the context of the holidays. That's why I'm never getting into marketing. Yeah. Anyway, danger. We have rogue, and I really have to Google this one. Don't tell anyone though. Okay, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, though this like oracle tends to throw in some words like, my god, I feel like I'm learning English back again, like in what, fourth grade? Like these words are like from ancient dictionaries or something. This card reveals the morality standpoint or the overall stance from which this whole thing has started. It's like a very low self-concept or identity or perception of self that thinks or that operates from the idea that being unfair, inauthentic, or with facades is very productive in a way or efficient, where other things like fail, this one doesn't. Something like this, which is very also kind of shady because it's in the dangerous. I would be very wary of like, if this doesn't resonate, then don't listen to this, but I want to be very honest and very upfront about this. uh these are people who are polite but have their own best interests at heart. So yeah, be careful with this one, because it seems like some of them are even very like consciously doing that. It's not even unconscious, which would make it like more excusable. Yeah, it's that bad. I hope it's not, but yeah, it's what I'm seeing. Non-realism, we have whisper, and this one is quite interesting because it's revealing a dimension as well of like loneliness, and I'm seeing a defined situation where somebody has like thoughts that they don't even share with others because of how desperate they can feel. Whispers, these traditionally, like what I associate the card with, it would be gossip. But because it's specifically in the unrealistic, it's as if you have in here people who feel so raw and vulnerable about some situations, or have such like deep thoughts and like vulnerable ones at that too, that they're even afraid to share them because they feel kind of it paints them like they paint them in a light that's not very like a leader, or like a person who's in charge, or like a person who's in charge of their life. Okay, that's marginally very twisted, but it is what it is. Okay, I literally had to shuffle the whole thing and find the card because it was covered, and we have obnoxious in there, which is interesting because you have it in the amusement or amusing category. This is going to be very specific, by the way, and I hope this resonates, but yeah. This is obviously not amusing, but it's a very good reference point for the information to flow. Um, exactly the people who feel like they are playing all of this in the shadows, and given the context, I did paint them in like a very bad light, and I'm not taking back my words in here because I'm a real tarot bestie. And I would like to say that it's a feeling of inadequacy in here that's surfacing, and that is showing me it's almost like a fulfilling, sadly, it's like a fulfilling, self-fulfilling prophecy. Or why they obnoxious? Because it makes me feel like somebody in here feels, or the group in here really feels inadequate, or they feel like they're not good enough and they have to build like this whole empire of lies. It's just so sad. It makes me feel strange because it's supposed to almost like be a humorous aspect or relevance, a reference point into the reading. It's obviously not, but it still shows me something that's worthy of being told to you, and that is with the Ace of Pentacles in here as the pillar of this subdivision. They don't know what to bring, they don't know what to substitute their inadequacy or the feeling of unworthiness with. And they are coming up with some very twisted plans to simply hide and cover this feeling. This has to be something that it's like a mechanism of sorts, and not to overshare too much, but it's like I would get why this would happen, or I get why this is in place to begin with, because sometimes there are situations where you can feel so powerless or so unworthy that the actual empowerment would be to be above it all, or to be above the overall game, and seizing that control for some people can look in like different ways or can vary, but it's actually a very sad thing, I would say. So doesn't mean we're justifying any thing, okay? But it's also a sign of mercy, and also a sign to be discerning and careful when you're dealing with people, so as to not get lost or catch yourself in their nets. I'm sorry. Um, why the when I'm reading, it's always like with the stuff, situation. I don't know. It's just annoying. It makes it like it really triggers me. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That's it, pile number 2. I hope you enjoyed. That was a very clear-cut information I received along the way, and how the subdivisions deepened the information is just amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for bringing this interesting topic to the surface today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out other videos on the channel as well. If you want to donate, you'll find the links in the comment section and the description section. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to hear from you in the future readings. Take care. Okay, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. You have turtles in here, right? That's the drill. I'm sensing in here some sort of veneration. Let's just not say it's like a religious one, but it's closely related to like a feeling of admiration in here and reverence that's being mixed in with the cards, and is linked to pile number 3. Given also the pile selection, I would say that the thoughts in here, the energies are primed in a way where they are going in a very slow, steady, but like unbothered type of like way. We'll be looking into the subdivisions as well. I will try and extract that which I am currently seeing. These subdivisions are going to be pragmatism, danger, unrealism or non-realism, and amusement. Already I wanted to say that I saw blunt in here. Okay, I'll start from that anyway. It's like I'm sensing somebody in here, if they were to be blunt, the overall admiration and the oozing feeling of like happiness and like appreciation for you would be like very uncomfortable for you to hear. It would really trigger you, I want to say, because blunt in here in the funny, it's like a situation where you would appreciate it if it wouldn't be so like, it feels like very vulgar. Okay, it's like, let's just not confess our love right now, okay? Like, that's how it feels. And thus it makes me feel like the thoughts in here related to the admiration of you or to the compliments, and they feel very, very sweet, and they feel very like too sweet, okay? Like, it feels, and the person or the group in here, they feel very honorable too, but it's also given the other subdivision, like we have argument in the amusement. So don't get me wrong, but this is like a very jealous, very, it's a very feely person or group in here who likes you, who appreciates and is attached to you, but doesn't really take no for an answer. And with argument, it would be funny for you to actually back away from this whole thing and further find yourself in a situation where the person is displeased because they have confessed their love to you, and now what, you're rejecting them? Like, how is that fair? And I was sensing this like positive predisposition also from the Page of Cups in here, which is the pillar of the second subdivision. Okay. What I love about the general category is that it's very positively oriented towards you, and it's also feeling like it's almost a bit celebratory, but it's like toned down, okay? Like, I'll tell you a secret. The innermost thoughts for you are very positive, but they are kept under wraps or under control in this case, because it's like it's very hard not to like you, or it's very hard to uh, not notice you, okay? That I'm seeing from this, like, we have two cards which in the upright position would be classified as very controversial or bad. We have the snake and the fox, both cards in reverse in the extremities of the general line of the cards information. I would say it's as if you bring the best in that person or group in here, and it's also why it feels celebratory. I think it's because of these like whole plates and representations of swords. They do feel destabilizing though. The thoughts about you feel very destabilizing for some reason. That moment when you're like given gifts and somebody expects a reaction or something, and you're like overwhelmed and you're like, yeah, thanks. Um, but I'm gonna go. You know, that's how it feels. Like, literally. It's like also, funnily enough, I'm looking at this like I don't know, it's a priest. It's giving priest, and he's eating books in here. I would like to say that this is a very fortunate case of like a stalker, but it's not necessarily bad stalker because we have the snake in reverse. So it's like it's as if the person is like thinking or deeply pondering on the subject of you, but it feels like it's not necessarily with the bad or negative intent, or it doesn't feel very like grabby in the sense that the person is like fixated and wants something. Like, it's a very detached. What's funny is the actual like accents in here in the reading where you almost cannot discern whether this is intense or not, because the overall predisposition and thoughts towards you feel very bright, very positive, very like it feels like recognition and validation from this person, while at the same time we had this slowed effect and the like honesty in here, which makes me feel like it's a double-sided like coin or something. I would say that we have in here appreciation and like a level of attachment that wouldn't necessarily be something that they feel very happy about or think like in happy ways, because we have two of pentacles reversed, we have four of pentacles, we have ace of cups in here. It's as if there is a dimension of like mental clutter or mental analysis that really makes it so that you are inaccessible or deems the situation not quite in their favor. However, with Page of Wands in here, and this like, anyway, the cards, it's not bad, it's not explosive, at least it's directed like in a more long-term type of way setup. And by the way, when I'm reading about people, I usually intend to read or to tell you information about people who you are interested in, or you are at least like marginally interested in, or you have to know this, because I'm not gonna do readings where it would be a person who is like who you're not interested in, and this would simply be pointless. So I hope this resonates nonetheless. But I'm sensing like a very honest, very pure intention to further deepen the actual interaction and relationship with you, even if it doesn't quite like the pace doesn't make sense. The pace, the actual, it's not possessive, like that's something that I really like, and it's not like self-serving because of the, it's not like, first of all, Snake in Reverse, it doesn't carry inherently a sense of like bitterness or destabilized emotional or like thought energy that would want to accelerate or to quickly achieve something or take away something from you, which I really adore. And the Fox in their reverse is like about honesty and playing fair or not being sneaky, okay? And it could be that the actual admiration in here and the predisposition towards you, it's actually the thing or the driver that primes this whole thing into like fruition. I love that. The cards are really not bad. It's like a very fortunate like innermost thoughts snapshot of energies in in here. The only thing that's like bothering me is like the 4 in here and the 2 and the Ace of Cups reversed. But it's like, let's just like mm, let it simmer. Or with 4 of Pentacles in here, it's like the person feels like they're not, they are on edge, but they don't feel the result, and they feel like they are placing this under some sort of control. So yeah, that's kind of it for the general section. We could go back to it anytime if I need if I need it, but yeah, I'll try to see if it's the case. Uh Pragmatic. Very interesting story. We have wealthy. And also Seven of Wands. I feel like you're inaccessible, by the way, because of the Seven of Wands. It's as if the person feels restrained or constrained by you or by circumstances or by time, can be as well the case. Pragmatic wealthy. Well, obviously this makes me feel like you and that person, their thoughts related to you tie your presence and your whole identity to like prosperity and to a very bright future. Um, it's not bad. It's only the only issue that I'm seeing in here is the thoughts in here gravitate towards the idea that it would really be nice, it would really be wonderful, but I'm not quite sure because they are far away from me or they are inaccessible. Okay, that's what I'm seeing. And also having the Seven of Wands in here, that's like something that really, it's a bitter feeling, though, I can say. It's like there is like some sort of powerless sensation or thought or conclusion in this case because of the nature of the reading, which makes the person feel like they have something that they want within reach, and that is you and the association with you, though it feels slow. It feels like it's like an on a slow burn type of like story situation, and it feels like, you know, it's almost like when you want to, you are watching a very interesting movie that for some reason was split in like seasons and like episodes, and you're like, I adore this, but I really can't wait. I can't wait. I really want to see to know what's gonna happen next, and you have to just watch it. That's in and of itself the feeling. But I'm sensing like a recognition of value that's very powerful, and that's very real, and it's not like emotional. Okay, I really love that, and it can be actually. I'm not saying it's not necessarily devoid of emotion, but what I'm sensing is like a very mental or mature uh, conclusion in here, which is not bad, and it's quite curious to read. Why? Because also Ace of Cups in reverse, it's like delayed gratification, or something in here works, but it's not exactly as I want it to be, or it's not as fast as I want it to be. And it's also inviting like very calculated, very cold, calculated like moves in here that are to be taken action upon. The formulations are spiraling out of control today. I'm not sorry about this. Next up, we have legend. This is danger. Danger category, legend. We'll get back to this one. We have unrealism with pants. This didn't make things clear. Okay, it makes sense. I just had to shift my focus. My third eye is translating this as the following. This is not bad, given the wealthy as well. It carries on an extra layer. Uh, Legend with danger. I would say this is a shadow element for pile number two's people. Not you, but the proximity or the person in here, because it feels like a singular energy as well. Um, it's a sneaky desire or thought or acknowledgement of a thought that they could affirm themselves out of the presence of yours, and thus it's why we had the legend in the actual danger category. I'm sensing that the person can claim the relationship, and further indirectly or kind of directly or not, use it in their favor as a way of asserting their status or their power or who they are. It's also seeing and acknowledging like power leverage in here that's associated with your affiliation, which can both with wealthy not only bring money or wealth into their life. It can literally be wealth in all kinds of like ways. Doesn't mean it's only material. This can be emotional wealth as well. This can be experiential worth or wealth. In this case, it's like a richness of like flavor and joy that's associated with your presence. And with legend in here, it's a sense of affirmation of self into the world or exertion of identity into the world. So I'd be careful with this one. It's not bad, but it's a happy case where they don't mind sharing or profiting off of the power element that's to be gained from the affiliation with you. Okay, because I'm sensing power with legend in here, or some sort of like influence or popularity or importance. And it's all like, I'm surprised how definitive or very concrete this goes. I would say the person or the group in here also doesn't feel like they have like really bad like self-esteem or something. Can be, I'm not saying, but because of that bear there. So it's like I'm sensing a case where shared minds, shared values, shared presences combine and affiliate or come together to actualize their power, something like this. And it's like they don't mind really. It's like I don't want to profit off of this, but I don't mind the actual benefits. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm also looking at the other category in here. Okay, never mind. I'll get back to the other category separately because I don't wanna mix things up here. This one is gonna be the case where I don't see much for now about the pants card in the category of the, what was it, unrealism. Um, what I can, or I could say about this though, it's I was sensing a shred like of information where there is like a sense of flexibility or freedom or commodity that's to be released, but the person or the group is not ready. It's like, you know how you cannot call best friends everyone, but you kind of resonate with people and you can make them potentially best friends, but you cannot really, like, you know, this conundrum where you cannot have multiple people into your life with the same type of importance. Is a degree of freedom in here that I can sense from unrealistic, where the person is like not ready to give up this. um it's workable. That's something I wanted to add though, like it's not bad. If you hear in the background noise somebody barking, I don't know. I'm tired of this situation. I don't want to even like go there right now. It's like very strange. Like at this hour, it's 9 p.m. Why would you bark at outside and like kids sliding over like there? Okay, and the actual the blunt category, given the progression of the information, I wanted to say somehow for now everything feels like it's in this. It literally showed me like a gift, like the cover up of the gift or the actual like wrapping of the gift. You really don't know what's inside. I feel like this is the situation with, what was it, amusement. In the amusement category, blunt, it's like you'd be surprised or maybe not, but you could know, you could suspect that you'd be quite surprised to know how overwhelming the sweetness of their compliments would be. Do with that as you wish. But it's just funny because, you know, generally you wouldn't say pile number three is very desperate for compliments, but you wouldn't mind, or you would actually want the compliments. Who doesn't want the compliments, you know? But at the same time, the with bluntness in here and the amusement, it would make you quite feel uncomfortable to know how much the person feels and how much they are affected by your presence, and it's like so touchy feely. Like it's like, let's just keep that like a secret. Like let's just keep it there. Not now. Like for now, let's just not know this. Like okay, things are okay as they are. Like that's how the energy of pile number three feels in this category. And the other pillar of the next subdivision is being represented by the Page of Cups. You know, you have positivity in here all over the place. Um, these are strangely, because this is not Queen or King, it's strangely very, it's a degree of like, a bit of like immature admiration. Uh, that's from the like disadvantages like part though. What's positive in here is that the feelings are very almost like naive or very pure or very light or very very childlike. Okay, let's just say it's not necessarily bad. It's not necessarily to mean that it's not gonna progress into something, but for now the innermost thoughts like gravitate toward like a very wishful like positive light type of like image of you. Just something to know, to note. Actually, not to know, to note. With pragmatic, we have holiday. That's very interesting. It's like somebody in here envisions, could be trips, could be holidays, could be what's gonna be like to spend time with you. I would want to add as well that this is the case where you feel like you enrich a person's life on a pragmatic type of level, or it could also mean, or this stems from this category where life feels easier because holidays like a break time or something, you feel like a resource. Interesting. Next up, we have the category. It's a generally very positive. I would say the associations, the mental like neural pathways or something, they're very positive when it comes to. This is not bad. Oh, they're concealed with the turtles there. So yeah, something to also keep in mind. We have danger playlist. This lightly refers to some sort of overthinking, and also playlist is like repetitive or something that like it's like a I regard playlists as something that's repetitive and you come back to. With danger in here, this can stem or show us a level of like presence in the slowness or a habit to overcomplicate things or to want to make them feel perfect to the degree which you definitely just make the process devoid of like emotion or something. So I'm sensing like some tendencies of wanting to make things right and perfect to the degree where they're not taking place or commencing. Yeah, I said it. Um, Also with playlist, I would say this is like a bit of fixation and like a unwillingness to move, where it's like a repetition of sorts in regards to how things are. So this could definitely talk about some complications in like the progression of the relationship or the dynamics, or to move things like in a sort of a faster way. Like we're not living in like the old ages, like we're not medieval times, okay? We're just like faster, like trains and bullet trains and like stuff like that, you know, you got the point. uh um Unrealism detox. This is kind of bad though, like, and it's reasonable because y'all I'm not gonna talk about only good stuff in here, like unrealism with detox, it's like um a situation where progressive change and evolution is actually welcomed. Nobody like canceled this yet. So with detox as well, it's I'm sensing a powerful unwillingness from people in here, from people's side, to make things work and move fast. Like literally. Detox as well is like when you have to look at the bad things and to move forward, you have to be aware of them. I'm sensing a tendency of idealism in here, or like a positivity that's almost like toxic or something. And we all know we had the argument category. I would say this is not bad generally, though it wants like progress and movement beyond. I'm sensing that you're dealing with either a singular or a group of people who feel very positively predisposed towards you, but the issue is there is a realness that's to be explored and that's to be further charted. But this realness and this change and this evolution, for things to not keep stagnant, has to tackle um, real aspects and real things that need to be again changed. And this is not something that with detox there it's very realistic for you to expect of the person. It's like somebody wants to idealize this whole thing for the rest of their life, but you can't keep everything in this like liminal. I don't know if it's liminal actually. Sometimes I be saying words, I'm like, I hope this is right. I'm searching in a dictionary, I'm like, that's not right at all. In any case, this is indicating like some sort of lack of flexibility in or knowing how to navigate this whole thing. Wanting to navigating things in like the positive way though, which is not bad. It's not a situation where the person doesn't care or the group doesn't care how to regard you or how to cooperate or work the relationship with you. Um, tends to be kind of stuck in here. Like the situation feels a bit like, yeah, can be. Yeah, it's something of a advice anyway. So yeah, I really hope this resonated. For some reason, pile number three had like some very excessive people in the background, like kids playing in the snow or something. At this hour, this is just blatantly unacceptable for my taste. But yeah, it happens. Life is messy and it's not perfect, definitely. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to check out the other videos on the channel as well. And if you want, you can donate. You'll find the links in the comment section and the description section if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this resonated. I definitely enjoyed this one. It was less rocky than another one. Not gonna point fingers right now. Thanks for watching, and I hope to hear from you in the future readings. Take care.